It's Tony G and Big Lou, the sports book, every Tuesday night on KHAM Radio. We got a great night of sports to talk about. Start off, man. The Yankees are 0-2. Epic games. Home run. Yeah, and you know the thing is,
home runs.
Walk in the 10th, and then in the bottom, and then in the ninth, the bottom of the ninth. And I mean, it's been crazy. I know a lot of people pick the Yanks, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. College football, we got some stuff to talk about. I want to send a shout out to Tyreek Robinson. He is a Shreveport kid. It's actually Joe Robinson's son, a friend of mine, a true freshman, playing wide receiver. Actually caught a ball for 20 yards, and Pitt's win over Syracuse.
They win.
LSU did not have a good day.
No, didn't have a good day at all.
And that's
Texas A&M too, lower
ranked. Yep, they have some 38-23. Texas, I'm gonna tell you what, I think they got to play Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt gave Texas all they could handle.
They gave the business.
Yeah, Vandy's got a team. Don't sleep on them if you can get the right spread on them. Alabama beat up on Missouri. We weren't surprised there. Trying to see. Yeah, there was a lot of good games. Got a bunch of games coming up. But let's get to where it's at. Our main thing here, everybody's got their own thing, is the NFL. What a week.
What a week.
Yeah, what a week.
What a good sportsbook army. I'll admit it wasn't a good gambling week for me. But that's to my own demise, because I did the exact same thing that I tell y'all not to do. Don't go with your heart.
That's right. There you go.
Always go with your head, never go with your heart. I went with my heart, and it killed me on a couple of parlays. But enough. Okay, so now that I got all the bad stuff out of the way, let's run some numbers on NFL last.
So Thursday, we had a Thursday night game, which turned out to be a barn buster with the Rams and the Vikings. The Vikings are on a 2-game losing streak. The Rams, I think, are a better team than their record indicates. But I will tell you this: Sam Darnold is playing good football. Can't say anything about. They played. This was a good game. It was 30-20. Stafford had 279 yards, 4 TDs, 1 interception. Sam didn't even have an interception. It was a tough game. And hats off to the Rams, because they're 3-4. So they're not out of it totally yet, but it was definitely a good game. Eagles and the Bengals. Joe Burrow he had 1 interception. Jalen Hurts had Jalen Hurts had 236. Actually, their yards were, Joe Burrow threw for 234. He threw for Jalen threw for 236. So it was close. But I think the problem is, and we said this before, Cincinnati just needs more help, and they need to get him help. They need to get him some more options. They're 3-5. We said it. I said it. We talked about last year about how I saw him going down. Not him, but the team going down if they didn't make some moves. But the Eagles covered. It was a good game. There was a lot of good prop bets on that, which covered. And you got to watch like I said, you got to watch on the prop bets, because there's a lot of them, like you said, they'll lead you in. They'll lead you in, and they'll put it close, and it'll be like, oh, they need 85 yards, and then they'll only get 69 yards. A lot of times you don't know what the game plan is. You think you do, but you don't. Speaking of which, we go to the Browns pulling off an upset, 9-point dog. If you had the Browns, hats off to you.
Hats off to you, because I did.
And let me see. So let's look at that. and your guy Winston came in.
James Winston, motivator.
334 yards, 3 TDs. I mean, Lamar had a good day, 289. But like Derrick Henry, he ran for 73 yards. That's what we thought it was 69. Chubb had, they were on them the whole game. I mean, going into the half, it was 10-6. Then it was 17-6. Then Baltimore was up 10-6. And then Cleveland scored 14. One thing that I did notice about, and I question, is how I think the Ravens defense is very suspect because
especially
we've seen that
secondary.
Yeah,
especially
we've seen it.
Secondary.
And the Browns, like I said, 9-point dogs, pulled it out. Hats off, hats off to Cleveland. And I think hopefully they'll be moving in the right direction. I mean, he did it all with the same weapons that Deshaun Watson had, and he did it without Amar. Actually, he did it with less. Amari Cooper's at Buffalo now, so hopefully they can turn it around. I mean, they're going to have to do some. They're going to have to do some magic work with the money or eat it. But I mean, you got to stick with James Winston right now. I mean, I know he's got some. He's got some interception. He's got some issues with that. But he's definitely not afraid to put the ball in the air. And they got a decent defense with a. I just think at times watching them when they got blown out, they were just mentally they weren't there.
They weren't there because they knew what was behind center. And now that they got their great motivator, the guy that pumps them up every game, now he's driving the car. And believe Tony that we're going to get better plays out of the whole team because they're going to put the effort behind Jameis, because he's the one that's motivating them to go out there and play, every down and things like that. So with him being at the center, I think it's gonna be some better play. If we seen it Sunday.
Yes.
It's the same team, same scheme, same team, just change quarterbacks and you get results. And I think that what Deshaun Watson's going through, I think now at first I was like it was mental. It's physically and mentally he's kicked out. So he's got to rehab his way back.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's going to be a while because that injury that he has. I mean, it's all this season, and we'll see if he's even ready to play. And and then there'll be a lot of choices, like especially if Winston plays well, and they end up at some point you got to go. And I know the owner's been adamant about Deshaun Watson as their quarterback. I guess you have to be if you spent that kind of money.
Absolutely.
The next game is the one we gave you. Detroit Lions and Titans. That Detroit in the over. We said it, and here's the funny thing about this game. Jared Goff went for 12 and 15. He only had 85 yards.
Right.
He threw for 3 touchdowns. Yeah, three touchdowns he threw for. The running backs got off. Tony Pollard had a good day for Tennessee, but it was never. They were in the game up until like 2 minutes or 10 minutes into the first quarter. That's when they just separated, and Detroit just came out, put 14 on the books, 21 the second, 17. I mean, it was just foot on the gas, never let up. Detroit's going to be a force in this NFC.
And I'm trying to tell, I have a lot of people that's got me on that. I'm like, watch out for Detroit. They're not a dog horse anymore. They've been over the playoffs, and they are going to be a problem in the playoffs.
And they play tough football. They run the ball extremely well. Have a really good defense, even though their main defensive guy, the motivator of their team, is out for the season. They are like I said, they're forced to be reckoned with. They're 6-1, and now this time of year is when you start seeing. When I say this is the time to put your foot on the gas and start separating yourself, it's kind of like Here's another one that I stay away from. I stay away from the Cardinals because I don't know which Cardinal team is coming to play.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm right with you on that one, Tony. I'm right there
Because
with you because you could get the Cardinals team that's going to put up a significant amount of points, and then you can get a Cardinals team that look like they didn't even practice that week. So where
too
do I place my
unpredictable.
coins on that? Right.
Yeah,
Where do I place my coins on that?
yeah, too unpredictable. Like I try to tell you all this is our opinion. Um, I try to you look at your stats, you look at this, and they were dogs, and then they come in, they beat the Dolphins, who are obviously they're in my Bills division, and this is they're 2-5. A couple more losses, and they're going to be out of the deal.
Yeah.
Nothing, you never know. It's only 7 games in, but the next 5, if you only win 2, you know what I mean. You're 4-8. You know what I mean. You
Right.
got. I mean, you're not in the driver's seat anymore. So that was a good game. Was one I stood away from. And here's another one. Like the Patriots and the Jets. I didn't see that. That was a
Yes.
game I said stay away from. My
Yeah. I
hats
stay
off.
away from that with you.
Yeah, my hats off to the Patriots going in there. Um, and let's see, they were giving them hell today because that was. Let me see. That was Jacoby Brissett came in and handled the game, led the team into a victory. Rodgers had a decent day, but they're missing a lot of points. They're missing a lot. A lot of. They're missing a lot of players. They're missing a lot of parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do have Aaron Rodgers. Yes, you got some wide receivers, but you're lacking on line. Defense has got some holes in it. They're not as good as they thought they were, and I think they're having some internal, because that's what happens, finger pointing, you, and I think when that starts happening, when we talk about this other team coming up, I think when that starts happening, you'll see it crumble. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because that's the time
Yes.
when you got to pull together. The Falcons and the Bucks. I mean, I'm going over my Baker had a good day. He had 2
Yeah.
interceptions.
That was
Kirk Cousins had a good day. I mean, that was a good game.
yeah.
Um,
It was.
and I'm gonna tell you this: I think Baker's playing some of the best football, and I think he found a home. I think Tampa need some stuff too. They let go White on defense for whatever reason. Um,
Mm-hmm.
who
That's a
was
mistake.
yeah, and he was at a year or 2 years ago. He was one of the highest paid linebackers, and so they got some things. But I think Baker's moving in the right direction. So I mean, my hats off to the Falcons. They're 5-3. The Bucks are 4-4. Um,
Mm-hmm.
did you watch the Packers and Jaguars? That was a good
No,
game too.
it was a
Sunshine
good
had a
game. I didn't catch it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sunshine threw
But
for over 300 yards. I mean, he's another guy. I think he's a
yeah.
talent, but he's surrounded by not a lot.
Right. He needs some bona
Needs a
fide weapons out there. He's got some good players, but he doesn't have bona fide weapons out there. He's got to get him some weapons.
Yeah, because they always pride themselves on their defense, and their
Mm-hmm.
defense has been lacking the last 2 years. And with you put all your emphasis on defense, and they don't perform, you don't. But they did put some points up against the Packers, which I was pretty impressed with. That was an
Mm-hmm.
over. That was a nice. And like I said, it was a tough game. And a lot of times, like I tell y'all, if you really want to do the sports betting, pay attention to the lives, because man, the lives are all. But the problem with the lives is you got to be paying attention on your app, because they're going to
Mm-hmm.
change. You may get
Yeah.
5 seconds to put down that bet, and a
Yeah.
lot of times you can get a lot of value. You're watching the line change, and because all it takes is for the favorite to come out, go 3-and-out, and the underdog gets 7 on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's changing, and that's a great time to go. Okay, that happened. I could double down on the favorite, or I could double down on the underdog. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. You can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. You can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. You can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of times you can get a lot of value. And a lot of ti however you see, unless there was an injury. So you got to watch the live lines. Definitely money to be made. The Texans and the Colts. I'm not 100%. I'm sold on Richardson exactly. I don't know. I don't know. At times I am, and at times I'm not. I don't really. Um, I don't know. I mean, I there was a rumor. I was listening to talk radio today that they were going to start. They were going to start Flacco this weekend. I don't know if that's just a rumor.
Right.
He didn't have a. He didn't have a. He actually got asked to be taken out of the game because he was tired.
Yes,
That was
that part.
yes.
You can't never say that as a starting quarterback of your team and you're trying to get a victory. You can never say that you're too tight. Just hand
Yeah,
the
I
ball
was
off to hand the ball off
because
behind
Flacco didn't even have his helmet near him. You know what I mean? He was just sitting
you.
over
Right.
there like watching the game. Nothing went wrong, and it was like, and he was like, "Huh?" He kind of looked around like, "Where's my helmet?" It was kind of strange. It was
Yeah.
and C.J. Stroud had a good day. Defense. I mean, the the Texans, good team, man. They got a lot of people out. When they get healthy, they could be a
Yeah.
threat. C.J. Stroud is turning out to be a stud in this
hmm
league. And it seems like the Texans are willing to do whatever it takes to um,
Yeah, to make sure that he's comfortable behind center and he's got some weapons that he can kick down to, you know.
what it
And Steph,
what comes
yeah,
down to.
yeah.
Uh,
And
But
Stephon will get his once he gets acclimated in that offense. He'll get
yes,
his.
yeah, But the problem with him is he could be such a distraction.
Yeah, he's a D. And
Him and his
and
brother.
yeah, yeah. And most wide receivers are, but at the same time, you gotta formulate with the team. It's not about, you can't win it by yourself. And
No,
you gotta give yourself some time and some patience.
and so next game, man, our Saints. What the heck is going on? They had
Man,
good. They had. I mean, Rattler had a decent 156, and then they put Hanner in there. Is that what it was? He threw for
yeah,
122. I mean, nobody had an interception. But Kamara just didn't seem like they were putting him. He had a couple plays, but they're just. I don't know. It's like they got the safety, and they got a field goal. They just don't have. They can't score.
can't score, can't get in the end zone. Uh, too many injuries. Uh, Too many injuries. Not enough talent behind center. And think Kamara is still nursing those ribs back. That's probably why he didn't get a lot of action. They don't want to,
He got
do too.
he got 10 carries for 67 yards. I mean, he had a 24. He was averaging nice.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just they just can't. They can move the ball, but they can't score.
Can't score. And it looks like that they're figuring out Kubiak's offense too. Now that they have tape, they're
Yeah,
figuring out, how to counteract that offense that he has with the motions and the movements and things. And then you got to have all of your key players to execute those type of offensive schemes, and you don't have your starting quarterback. So, but it's your job to improvise and build an offense with what you have, so that and try to execute effectively. And that doesn't seem to happen. All of this is going to fall on Dennis Allen's shoulders. Fans are already calling for his job. Uh, we're not sure what it's going to look like next season, but it's really not looking good for him right now, So I'm not sure, what's going to happen, but even me, I don't think that going forward that might be a good idea. There's other guys out there that might be able to come in and do something with this talent. And I And the injuries, I put the injuries on shortening preseason. You don't have enough time to get your football body acclimated. And that's where the injuries are coming from, especially if you hold out or, you know what I'm saying, you
Yeah,
don't
that's
take
true.
advantage of the voluntary camps and things like that because yeah, you can play football, but you got to get that body used to getting hit constantly. And and because it's not just the Saints, it's other teams, it's teams all across the league that are, we've had the most injuries in a long time, and I think that's what's part of it. They don't get that full uh that those they don't get the games, the practice, the preseason. They don't get enough of that. So by the time the regular season starts, their bodies are used to it. I think they're rushing into it. They're adding games. So that's even going to be more injury. So something they might want to have to look at. I mean, their bodies are not allocated to take the punishment, and you got to take hits. You can train with whoever. You got to take hits, Tony.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with you. Going into the Bills and the Seahawks, I was surprised that the Bills went in and handled them the way they did. Josh threw his first interception of the year. That was his first interception of the year. Geno Smith. I mean, I was really kind of worried about, but this is not this. But for the Bills, and not that I'm not just because I'm a fan, but right they're going to play Miami next week. This is the time you got to crush the Jets. That you got to put them so far in the back that they're become irrelevant.
Right.
I mean, Geno Smith didn't have a bad. He had 212 yards. The Bills' running game, keyword running game, was James Cook had 111. So they ran for as a team 164. Again, going back to that running game, controlling everything. I've struggled. But yeah, the Bills won. Seattle goes to 4-4 because a couple of weeks ago they were talking about maybe it's the best team in the NFC. They were playing well, and they just hit a little banana, as they say. And the Panthers and the Broncos weren't really surprised. That was another one that we Sean Payton's got that team well coached. He's using Nix, Bo Nix. I mean, he's having a good day. Poor Bryce Young, man, he's got flurries of greatness, just don't have anything around him.
Right.
And it's going to be a long season. They're going to get some more number one drafts, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but that was another one of those games. It was just like, wow, that really just happened. Now here's one. And this is the one that I said, you always got to watch the spread on because it's a conference game. The Chiefs and the Raiders. The Raiders play way beyond their level when they play the Chiefs. They get funky. You know what I mean?
It just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. And but the Chiefs won, rolled on to 7-0, 27-20. Spread was 7. I had it at 7, so it was a push. And I mean, the Chiefs just keep winning. I mean, they're gonna separate themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 10-0, but if they don't win 10 in a row. I ain't saying they're going undefeated, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go 10-0.
Right.
And the Raiders just need a lot of Minshew. He hung in there the best he could. But they need so much stuff, you know what I mean? And they lost so much talent. The Bears and the Commanders, this was a crazy game. Crazy game. Did you see the play at the end where Chicago guy, what was he doing?
Number one rule when there's a Hail Mary pass, if you're not going to catch it, knock it down. Knock it down. If you're not going to catch it, knock it down. You can never tip. You can never tip it. You can never tip it because that's what happens every time. Every time. So yeah, I felt for I felt for Chicago because they it was supposed to be the game that was supposed to be the game of the week. You got the number 1 and the number 2 playing against each other, but He got him on a Hail Mary. Excuse me, he's
I
got him
mean,
on a Hail Mary.
and it turned out to be a very good game. It was a very
Yes, it
good
did.
game. Came down to the last play, the Hail Mary. And one thing I liked about him was he ran from one side to the other. I mean, he moved that ball and he was trying to get it to where he could plant his foot just right. So he knew what he was doing. So his football IQ is high. He knew what he
Yes.
was doing. That being said, my hat's off to him and the Commanders. And this is another one. The Commanders are 6-2. They keep messing around, and the Commanders could be 9-2, and they're going to be separating themselves from Philly's in there. Dallas, we're going to get to Dallas. Dallas is in trouble. But Philly's with them. Philly's at 6-2. They're at, all right. So they just both need to keep their foot down and try to separate themselves from the Giants and the Cowboys as much as they can. Now, last night's game with the Cowboys and 49ers. Now, I thought it was something when the Cowboys did make a game of it at the end. They did. But, where was that offense all night long?
Right.
And I think in San Fran, I think San Fran, they're going to make the playoffs. They're missing so many parts. They're doing all they can do. Brock Purdy had 260. Dak Prescott had 2 interceptions. Yeah, there were some people that dropped some ball. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. He's not getting the help that he's not getting the help that he needs. And the defense has got a lot of holes in it. Got some injuries. Same thing with the line. And the other thing is, to make them mad. Maybe they weren't. Again, I was listening to Michael Irvin talk today, and he made the comment that we had talked about, and he said, he goes, you don't see a pattern. Every year we win. We have a winning record. We blow out the bad teams. We lose to all the good teams, and as soon as we go to the playoffs, we get knocked out in the first round. So he said, you don't see that being a problem. And they were kind of. He goes, I'm not. He goes, I'm a Dallas Cowboy. I'm Michael Irvin. You know what I mean? Right. I'm just saying that's something that we really need to address. That this team hasn't been that good. The way they're scheduled, he goes, they have beat up on. He goes, there for a while they're beaten up on Washington, New York, and Philly. He goes, that was 6 wins right off the gate. And he goes, and then they had some. He goes, but if you look at their history, same thing we've been saying. Every time they played a good team, they lost. He goes, so you could go 12. He said, and they were asking him what he thought, and he goes, it's time to reboot because this what we have isn't getting us. And they asked him about Dak, and he goes, I'm not necessarily saying that you have to get rid of Dak. He said, I'm just saying there's a lot of pieces, but and it all goes back to what you're trying to do. And again, I'm not mad at the man got his money, but it's funny to me that some other quarterbacks would have been like, or have done this in the past. Whoa. Give me 40 and take the other 20. And I need this, and that. Give me Henry. That's age. That's the part of me that we don't have on the. They're not the Cowboys of past where it's put the team first. It's more about me. I can't blame them. That's kind of like we're society. Or I'm not getting into all that, but just how things play out. He goes, but he could have just took 40, but the stipulation was, I want this one, I want that one. Give me this one, give me that one. Give me what I need so I can win that jewelry. And it wasn't said, and maybe they didn't handle it right. And that could be a lot of it. So you can't just blame Dak. The Cowboys should have worked a deal out with them 10 months ago. And now he's like, hey, screw you. It's all about me. But hey, look, man, we're about to run out of time. When we get back, we're going to get on our picks. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Tony G and Big Lou every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on KHAM Radio, where we go ham. Yeah. Give me a KHAM Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G. Big Lou, Tuesday night, the sports book. 8 o'clock on KHAM Radio. If you're seeing this on YouTube, go to khamradio.com, press the play button, 24 hours a day. Have a great radio. You listen to us everywhere, all over the world, really, anywhere there's an internet. We're just tuning in. We went over some scores, got some picks for you guys. So let's get into it. Thursday night game, Halloween. It's a pick 'em, or Caesar's got them as a pick 'em. You could look at all. I mean, there might be somewhere. To me, New York and the state that they're in, I like Houston.
Yes.
I like Houston because of the state that the Jets are in. I think they're in I think there's some turmoil in there.
Mm-hmm.
We're just trying to capitalize. And I like the over 42.
Yes.
And a half. And hey, guys, like I tell you, you can go in there and buy the hook. The hook is the point, half point.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll lose more games on that hook than you will ever real. But I like Houston over and the over 42 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
The next game is the Cowboy. I guess it says November 3rd. Is that Saturday games? Are we already having, or no, that's Sunday.
That's Sunday. Mm-hmm.
Okay, my bad. All right. That's the 3rd. Okay. You got Dallas and Atlanta. Now this game has a lot of factors. This is a hard one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Kirk Cousins is going to be there. I don't know.
Right.
And I don't know what Dallas Cowboy team is going to show up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is one of those bets where I don't like. What I do like is the over 52. Because Dallas can score points. Yes. There is no question. They can score points. And Atlanta can score points. Like, I don't see this being a defensive game. Because last night, I mean, San Fran has a pretty good defense, and they maybe not on the scale of Detroit's defense, but these two match up better than a lot of people think. I like the over. You got any input on the game? What do you think about the 2 points?
With this one, and like I said, you hit all the key points on the head. Which Kirk Cousins is showing up? This is a home game. You know what I'm saying? It's a home game. You would think that Atlanta's going to beat Dallas outright, but it depends on where Kirk shows up. He's got to show up like this is a home game, and they got to treat Dallas like, okay, this is one of the big dogs in the NFC. So we got to go into this game with intensity. We don't know because, like you said, Dallas can score the ball. They may not be able to win games like we want them to, but they can score points. So,
and you don't know, and we don't know what Dallas offense is going to show up.
Right.
The one that's going to struggle for 3 quarters. You know what I mean? Because we're talking about winning. We're ain't talking about the over. Is this the Cowboys that's going to fall behind 37-7, and then in the last 4 minutes of the game put up 20, still lose the game, cover the over? Because now I'm looking at the over and winning money. So that's my thing. I don't know what offense, and I don't know what Kirk Cousins, and really this year Kurt has been pretty darn consistent. I can't really take that up from him, but every now and then it's like, ooh.
You see that old Kurt, you're like, whoa.
See that old? Yeah. Denver and Baltimore. They're giving Denver 9 points. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Sean Payton's a good coach. And I like Denver Broncos plus 9. Now, they're playing in Baltimore.
Right. But he knows that Baltimore's secondary is suspect.
Yes.
He's going to exploit that. He's going to exploit that. With some play action for Bo Nix, I can see him dialing up some stuff to test those. He's going to test those corners. He's going to do that.
Because you can get right now it's minus 110 plus 10. It's minus 155 plus 11.5. I like 11.5. Because you can play with the line. So that being said, I like Denver. Let me see here. I'm trying to go back. Caesars. Hold on one second. They're sending me stuff all the time.
Yep. If they let Derrick Henry run the ball, it might be a different call. But I just feel like Baltimore sometimes go out of their way to try to prove that Deshaun Watson, why would I even say that? That Lamar Jackson is a passing quarterback.
Right.
And to the detriment of Travis Henry. What did you sign him for? Let him run down here. He's got to build his momentum up because he's a down here runner. Why not exploit that? Why not take advantage of that? If there's any game to do that, it's this one. But I just don't feel like they're going to keep going with what they've been doing, trying to score points and score points fast.
I totally agree with you. I'm trying to get this to pop up. Let's go to booba-dooba-doop-a-doop. I'm trying to get it to let's go. Sometimes these computers don't want to work with us.
It's internet.
It's the internet, yeah. But yeah, I do like the Denver Broncos. Washington and the Giants. Now, right off the top of my head, I'm going, well, Washington. But this is a conference game.
Mm-hmm.
It's
in New York.
Yes.
It's in New York this time. So
this is going to be a tight. It's going to be a tight game. I do like the over of 43.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the over. I don't like the spread. I don't necessarily like the spread, but I do like the over in Washington. It's over 43. I think Washington can definitely score some points. I mean, I know the Giants have struggled at times, but I like the over. The Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. This is one of those games where I think the Bills have to put their foot down and try to take a huge lead, like a couple other teams need to do, and put these other small contenders in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, just get them out of the way. Don't even think about seeing this in the playoff. Just go sit down, plan your vacation.
Yes, plan.
Yeah, they gotta lay it. They gotta lay it down. They gotta bring it. They gotta bring it and let the Dolphins know, hey, we are the big dogs in this division. Stay in coach. This is first class up here.
Yeah, no. You definitely hit it on the head. I mean, that they got it. I mean, and like I said, they're not the only ones. This is that time of year you need to put your foot on the gas and start separating yourself so you're in the driver's seat. But so if you go off of the last result, I'm not going to bet it, but if you go off what happened last time, Buffalo minus 6.5, you'd have to take. And I don't know exactly about the over because they could play a little. And then another thing is weather's starting to become a factor. Yes. That game last night,
into November,
and Seattle game with Buffalo, it was pouring. Next game is Las Vegas against Cincinnati, AFC. The Raiders are bad, but they will play tough. And Cincinnati is trying to prove a point. Can Cincinnati lose another one? I mean, they lose another one. It's over. I don't think they can
afford to lose. No.
Yeah, I don't think they can afford. So I would, like I said, these are ones necessarily I'm betting, but I like Cincinnati at home to bounce back, and I like the over 45 because him and Chase get on a run, they can put some points up. Vegas, not so much. Vegas is going to be worth about 14 points. Minshew, and they don't have an explosive offense. But Cincinnati, if they get into a run, if they get into a roll, they can put up 30 on them quick. Here's another tough one. This is going to be Los Angeles Chargers going against Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns coming off a huge win over the Ravens. Chargers are coming off a win over the Saints. The over's 42. Now, we know Cleveland can score, and the Chargers can score. The over's 42.5. I like the over, 42.5. Because I think this could get – watching Cleveland put up them points against the Ravens, and I know the Chargers can put up at least that many. You know what I mean? They're capable. So I like the over. And then again, make sure you go over the injury report. Make sure everybody's playing. Because I know here lately there's been a lot of injuries, and you want to make sure you're
make sure your guys playing. Especially if you do those yardage parlays.
Yes.
And anytime touchdown parlays, if you do those, I do them every now and again. But I study the injury report and you study the stats, not only from the previous game, but how they did this season.
Yeah.
So take all that into effect when you go that route, because don't pick them because you like them. You gotta look at their body of work.
Yes, and all that information. That's one thing that's great about nowadays in sports bet. It's all out there. You can look up anything. There's no secret or any. I mean, all you got to do is just Google it, look up. There's so many sites that will break it down for you. There's even AI sites will give you percentages and the information out there. Don't overboggle yourself with it, but it's definitely out there. New England Patriots, Tennessee Titans. Who you like? Patriots coming off a victory. Titans coming off a beating.
Titans are at home, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter now. But the Patriots have been starting Drake May, and he's learning. He's learning this thing. Man, this is a hard one. This is one of those games. Win that game.
Either one. This is one of those bets. This is one of the ones, and we talk about. I was like, man, this is one that I'm looking for easier pickings. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not trying to mathematically fix the world. I'm looking for easy pickings, trying to win money. I mean, I know there's so many people, and there's so many successful. I watched something on a group of guys in Denver, and basically it's all math to them. It's just math. It's just hey, everybody's got the way they like to bet. I got mine, you got yours. But this is one of those games that I'm like, this is too much. This is, who are we picking? We're picking the winner of and it's kind of like the next game, the Saints in Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, the Saints are -7. I mean, who you got? I mean, that's a game. It's like, and somebody might go, well, they're both not very good, so take the over. This game could be 7-3.
Right. They don't put up points. Saints don't put up points, and we know Carolina is just it's just not their season. So
no,
this could be anybody. This could be any. This could be a 9-3. You don't know what you're going to get. Talent wise, the talent's not there.
So many injuries.
I'm staying away from it. Too many injuries. I'm staying away from them probably for the rest of the season. until some of their key players get back. Too many injuries, and it's apparent that neither Rattler or Herner are ready. They're learning on the fly, so I wouldn't
Yeah,
expect a lot of points.
That's, I mean, you got to, yeah, it's just one of those. It's definitely one of those deals.
Mhm.
Next game is Chicago Bears, Arizona Cardinal. This is another one.
Mhm.
What Arizona team are we expecting? Because the one that just played last week, I think they beat Chicago at home.
Mhm.
But if it was the one 2 weeks ago, not so much. And Chicago's been. If I was gonna pick one, and I'm not gonna gamble on this game. If I was gonna pick one, we're just writing it down so we can compare next week. I would go with Carolina. I would go with Arizona at home.
Yeah, I would go Arizona at home. I'm
At
with you on that
home,
one.
yeah, because it's a pick 'em. I would take them at home, riding off a win. I mean, he definitely can score some points. They both can.
Mhm.
Um, the over's 44.5. Yeah, I'd take Arizona. We're going to see how that works out. So this next one is Philly and Jacksonville. Now Jacksonville suffered the spread 7.
Mhm.
Um, and the Eagles have let me down before, but I would tweak that. I would tweak that to 4, -4, and I would take Philadelphia at home. Because Philadelphia is the better team. Um, like I said, the Jaguars are missing a lot of parts. The weather could be a factor in Philly. I'm not saying it's going to be 20, but it could be
Right.
40. And they're coming from Jacksonville. It's going to be at 3 o'clock, 3:05, 4:05
Mhm.
their time. But I like Philly -4. And like I
Okay.
said, you can tweak all the numbers you want and see where you're at with it. Just kind of go from there. All right, all right, all right. Okay. The next game is Detroit Lions and Green Bay.
Hmm.
Classic game. Classic
Classic
game.
game.
Check the weather on this, just in case. Check the weather
Yep.
on this.
Check the weather.
Tony G's
Detroit's a
making.
dome team.
They
Detroit's a
are.
dome team, y'all. So check the weather on this one.
Check the weather. If the weather's fair, I think Detroit beats the brakes off them.
Mm.
The way Detroit is playing, the way they line up against them, Green Bay is a good team. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But right
Yeah.
now, the Lions are playing FU ball. I mean,
Yes.
that's what they're playing. They're playing FU ball, stop me if you can stop me. And,
Mhm.
some people that play Pacquiao, or some people that play, you ride the wave. You don't go
Yes.
against the wave. I ain't saying Green
Yes.
Bay is not a bad team. I'm not. But at 3.5 points, Detroit is giving up 3.5 points. This is going
Mhm.
to be a good game. But I think he's going to come and he's going to play his style of ball, which is it's like Smash Mouth Plus 2.0.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah.
running down your throat. He's bringing in. He's got a whole setup where he brings in nothing but linemen. I don't know if you've seen that, and they run off
Mhm.
of that. Everybody's a tight end. He's got an extra tack, 2 extra tack. I mean, it's just he's trying to beat you up. That's it. That's what
Mhm.
he's trying to do. He's trying to
Right.
play that I'm going to punch you in your face, and you can punch me in my face, and then we're going to see who's standing, and we'll just keep punching each other. And he's playing that. He's going for it
Right.
on 4th down. He's probably going to pull a fake punt or field goal. He doesn't
Mhm.
care. He is
Mhm.
going to, and he takes whatever criticism or whatever if it don't work out. And right now it's working out. And so I don't,
Yes.
and I could see someone being maybe a Green Bay fan saying, "Hey, now I have to go over the want to go over the injury reserve. I got to go over the list to make sure before I make any." But Detroit Lions -3.5. Like I said, if you want to go in and at -3.5, they're plus 100. So you probably could get them down to I don't know why it's at plus 100. So if you take them down to -2, you might get them at 110 or one. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you got to bet 110 to win 100. The money line is 178. You got to bet 178 to win 100 to win 100. But I think it's definitely gonna be a tight game. But I like the Detroit line.
Okay.
Los Angeles Rams and Seattle. Again, this is going to be another tough game. Depending on the weather in Seattle, it could be sloppy and messy. If it's sloppy and messy, like this time of year starts raining a lot in Seattle. It rains in Seattle a lot, but now it's cold.
Yeah.
The under could be the under could be something to look at, under 48, and it's a pick 'em. You know what I mean? And you're basically trying to figure out, well, can the Rams continue to win? Is Seattle gonna? I mean, I'd have to look at it some more, but I do like the under. All right. Are we missing somebody? Did we miss somebody? Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts and Minnesota. I mean, I like Minnesota. Yeah. I like Minnesota at home. -5. Now I will say this: if they do start Flacco, Joe Cool, I have to look at it. I don't know. It just gives them a different look. But I like Minnesota at home snapping a 2-game losing streak. Definitely like them. The over is 45. The over is definitely doable. Minnesota's got a good defense. They got a good defense. It really basically comes down to if Minnesota can get their running game established. I'm looking at. I'm gonna write it down. I mean, I'm the over of 45.5. Boom, boom, boom. Got that. I'll roll it down. The next game, I'm trying to see. So,
trying to see Monday night game. No.
Well, I'm trying to see. We hit it. Okay, so we got Dallas and I was just going over. We had Dallas and the Falcons. Dallas and the Falcons. I got to meet him there. I got to buy that. That's going to work out perfectly. Okay. We want to make sure we're covering everybody. All right. We got Minnesota. We got Tampa Bay Bucks, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. I like Kansas City, but I don't like the 9. Kansas City and their spread. It's not the same Kansas City team as it was, where they used to just, put up 54 points, and it was just their offense is more subdued. It's not like it once was. Still a great offense. Let's not get it twisted. But Tampa and the 9, you could. And there's a lot of ways you can look at this. You can look at it like you could add to. All right, if you pull it up and you go Kansas City, if you go Tampa Bay plus 11.5, it's a -161. It's not bad. I mean, it's a little bit, but that's 11.5 points. There's just a lot of play room, and I try to tell people that. Because Tampa's a good team. I mean, Tampa, I know it's missing some, but I think Tampa is within 7 on this. And if I was going to take points, I would take Tampa Bay. I mean, look at last night. I mean, if you would have took the Raiders and the points, you would have won. I just happened to bring them down because I knew they weren't going to cover. I knew they were going to win, and then the money line. So Kansas City on the money line is -485. There's no money there. So, but playing with the line, and you could do it both ways. If you made Kansas City, let me see, let's do Kansas City -6.5. You're looking at 173. Now you're getting up there. But there's a lot of stuff you can do, and that's why I always tell people, look at your app, see how it's set up. And if you have multiple apps, check your lines, because a lot of times it may be 9 on Caesars. It may be 8 on Bet360. It may be 7 at MGM. It really depends. Sometimes there's a swing there. In this game will be, like I said, they're playing in Kansas City. Like, I'm not going to be surprised if Kansas City goes 8-0. I'm not going to. I mean, that won't really surprise me. Like I said, I think Tampa's a good team. I think he's Mayfield's playing really good ball. He's just running up against some chainsaws that there's nothing he can do. So, at the end of the day, that's just kind of the end of the day. So I think, that's it. But I like Kansas City to win, however you want to play it. And like I said, with Tampa Bay with 11 points, I like Tampa Bay. And this spread's probably not going to stay here. And if it goes up, it's hard to, it's hard to. Tampa Bay's been in most of their games within 7. So it's just stuff you got to remember.
Right.
And then when you're betting, like I said, the over's 44.5, very doable at Kansas City. But this is another one. Pay attention to the weather. It'll be in November. And it's like I said, it ain't big stuff, but it could get cold and rainy, which kind of slows down the pass. Then you go into a running game, and then there's fumbles. There's just a lot to take. Like I said, I like keeping it. Me and Lou just like keeping it simple. Like I said, I know there's all kind of people, and they sell picks, and they got their phone, and they're $1 million kid. Hey man, we're just small time gamblers having fun, winning a little here and there, winning a little there, grinding it out, trying to make it happen, trying to put together the big one. But yeah, that's all it's really about. It's not really about selling picks and all the other crazy stuff. But that being said, I want to thank everyone in our sportsbook mafia, sportsbook family, our army, whatever you want to call it. I want to thank everyone at KHAM Radio who makes it possible, doing all our shows. Eli, you're the man. We all know that, and all the ladies at the office. There's a bunch of like I said, there's a bunch of great shows you guys can tune in on khamradio.com. 24 hours a day of great radio programming. And again, hit us up at the station. Hit us up on Facebook if you have something to be announced. You have a new business, you want us to throw you talk about you on there. Like do a little pre-ump of, hey, this is Billy Smith. He does this. He's here. More than happy to do that. More than happy to help everyone out. All right, guys. I want to thank everyone again. I want to thank Big Lou, Tony G, Big Lou, the Sportsbook, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on KM Radio, where we go ham. Boom.